Chapter 52:14. Even though Qiliandia was a spiritual sword, she was so scared that she couldn't even breathe. A nascent soul cultivator was a sect leader in the 3 countries of the Dawn Rain continent, but in front of this demon, according to Taoist Master Zhao's command, he was just a squad. Could it be, this is Taoist Master Zhao's Fortune Gate disciple? All the sword cultivators held their breath and watched quietly. Their hearts were as if struck by lightning, and their curiosity was like a cat scratching at them. They secretly thought, could it be, there are other more powerful disciples? The sword cultivators were not disappointed. In the place where their divine sense longed for, more than 100 scattered nascent soul cultivators appeared proudly. Qiliandia, Ruotian, Cheng Minghua, and Chong Taishi were not calm. These 4 sword masters who controlled the Heaven One Scion light sword formation had now advanced to spiritual swords. They looked at more than 100 scattered nascent soul cultivators whose cultivation they couldn't see through, but there were faint lightning bolts rushing out uncontrollably nearby. They were so surprised that their hearts were numb. They clearly knew that if one of these 100 scattered nascent soul cultivators appeared in the Sky Patrol City in the past, the Sky Patrol City must be a Dao cultivator. Fairy Luo Hua, Taoist Soaring Dragon were just fleeting clouds. However, the scattered nascent soul cultivators, who were like gods in their eyes, obediently listened to Taoist Master Zhao's command and flew into the bronze mirror and disappeared. Just as these scattered nascent souls disappeared, the distant horizon once again appeared, a solid figure as big as a mountain range, with an aura as vast as the sea. There was a bald man who looked like a ferocious god, a valiant dragon with a huge body, a soul warrior with mysterious starlight shining all over his body, and a monk with a compassionate face standing on a 9th-grade lotus throne. These cultivators seemed to have supreme strength in the world, but which one of them was not an all-powerful figure? However, these cultivators were all clustered around a thin Dao sect disciple as they slowly flew over. This cultivator's eyebrows were slanted, and his eyes were like stars. A faint smile hung on the corners of his mouth. Although he didn't speak, that charming smile had spread over the whole earth. Even the moonlight that had just emerged from the clouds in the distant mountains couldn't compare. Moreover, between this cultivator's eyebrows, a faint arrogance and inherent domineering aura involuntarily emerged. When the cultivator's gaze swept over, it leisurely emerged. This was the true demeanor of a king. Even the scorching sun at noon couldn't reach it. Dao. Xiaohua. The gazes of millions of human cultivators were all focused on this person, and all of them were chanting the same name in their hearts. Big Brother Xiao. Behind the Fortune Gate disciples, where Yuanya and the Black Bear Spirit were standing proudly, Huang Mengxiang moaned like a love-struck fool. You're finally here. I knew long ago that you would rule the world one day, but I really didn't expect this day to come so quickly. Beside Huang Mengxiang were naturally Li Zongbao and Kai Zhuoxia. When Kai Zhuoxia heard this, she frowned slightly and used her right elbow to nudge Fairy Hongxia, who was standing beside her. However, Fairy Hongxia did not pay any attention to Kai Zhuoxia. Instead, she stared fixedly at Xiaohua's familiar body. Among the millions of cultivators in the Daybreak Rain continent, there was probably no one who was more familiar with this ordinary physical body than her. However, at this moment this body was standing before everyone and before her eyes. This light made this body seem incomparably glorious, and Fairy Hongxia felt a sense of unfamiliarity. What's wrong with you? Kai Zhuoxia asked in a low voice. Fairy Hongxia shook her head slightly, as if she had just woken up. She looked at Xiaohua and whispered, nothing. That's your husband. Kai Zhuoxia reminded in a low voice. Don't let others snatch him away. I know. Fairy Hongxia bit her lips and replied in a low voice. Yuanya stood at the side, pretending not to have heard anything. However, the Black Bear Spirit smiled loyally and said, Mistress, don't worry. As long as Master has you in his heart, no one can snatch you away. Hearing the Black Bear Spirit with unfathomable strength call her mistress, Fairy Hongxia felt a sense of incredulity. She could not help but whisper, Senior, I haven't. Before Fairy Hongxia could finish speaking, the Black Bear Spirit fell to his knees and kowtowed. Mistress, why are you calling me Senior? If Master finds out, won't he chase me out of the Fortune Gate? Quickly get up, quickly get up. Fairy Hongxia's face was red as she hurriedly waved her hand and said, I won't say any more. Yes, yes. The black bear spirit hurriedly got up and said with a smile, I will listen to mistress's orders. Seeing how the black bear spirit treated Fairy Hongxia, Huang Mengxiang was extremely jealous. However, whether it was the black bear spirit or Yuanya, they did not even look at her. This made her grit her teeth. At this time, Xiao Hua had already flown to the front. As he looked around, he saw that within a few hundred miles, there were millions of cultivators. Some were sword cultivators, some were Dao cultivators, and all of them were unusually respectful. No one dared to make a sound. Xiao Hua opened his mouth wanting to say something. However, before he could say anything, the black bear spirit looked at Yuanya and bowed. Disciple respectfully requests sect master to ascend to the throne. How could the black bear spirit have such thoughts? These words must have been taught by Xiong Yi. At this time, Xiong Yi and Li Xiang also led the disciples and bowed. Sect master respectfully requests sect master to ascend to the throne. Haha. Xiao Hua chuckled and waved his sleeves. Boom! A deafening boom reverberated in the air. The throne of creation flew out in a spectacular manner. Tens of thousands of bolts of lightning surged and fell below Xiao Hua. This throne of fortune was naturally formed by Xiao Hua's divine ability. However, it was real in front of everyone's eyes. When Xiao Hua sat down, another thunderous roar could be heard. The throne of fortune soared into the sky, and millions of lights turned into illusions of various colors and fell everywhere. Tens of thousands of lightning bolts rushed into the sky and turned into clouds that enveloped Xiao Hua and the others. Seeing such a majestic scene, the Dawn Rain Continent's Fortune Gate disciples who were standing behind the Dao cultivators were ecstatic. At the same time, they knelt in midair and kowtowed. Disciple greets Dao Master Xiao. There were more than 2 million Fortune Gate disciples who came to the Sky Patrol City. Although nearly 30% of them died in the battle with the Sky Patrol City's sword cultivators, there were still more than 1 million disciples. When these million disciples kowtowed in unison, it was like a tsunami. Not to mention the various Taoist cultivation sects, even the sword cultivator disciples were shocked. Kunlun sect's sect master Xianjing did not dare to be negligent. He hurriedly bowed and said, Junior Xianjing greets Dao Master Xiao. Kunlun sect's disciples also bowed and said, Junior greets Dao Master Xiao. Seeing that Xianjing had spoken and the Kunlun sect's disciples bowed, all the other Dao cultivator sect masters and disciples came to their senses and bowed. Junior greets Dao Master Xiao. When the Dao cultivators bowed, the various sword cultivators also hurriedly bowed and said, Junior greets Dao Master Xiao. In an instant, millions of cultivators bowed and millions of disciples knelt. All the Dawn Rain Continent's cultivators were kneeling in front of Xiao Hua. Li Zongbao, Kai Zhuoxia, Fairy Hongxia, Huang Mengxiang, and the others naturally did not bow. However, when they stood in the sea of people, they appeared so small. Huang Mengxiang's eyes flickered with a dreamy luster, while Fairy Hongxia's eyes revealed an indescribable expression. Facing so many cultivators bowing, Xiao Hua did not feel uneasy. He raised his hands and circulated his divine ability. Millions of cultivators felt as if a pair of invisible arms had appeared in front of them, slowly lifting them up. Dao Master Xiao. Although they were so far away from Xiao Hua, the Fortune Gate's disciples had never felt so close. The God in their hearts was so close that they felt as if he was personally lifting them up. Therefore, some of the disciples who had not stood up were already crying and shouting, Dao Master Xiao, you're finally back. Xiao Hua looked at these devout disciples. The crystal-like Godhead behind his head emitted a faint light, and the power of faith surged into his body even more fervently than before. Xiao Hua looked at the Fortune Gate's disciples and smiled. Yes, this Xiao is back. In the future, all of you will really be my Fortune Gate's disciples. Dao Master Xiao. All the Dawn Rain Continent's Fortune Gate's disciples wanted to shout something, wanted to say something, but all the words that reached their mouths were blocked. It was as if 1,000 words could not compare to the 3 words Dao Master Xiao. A soundless cry was born from the bottom of their hearts. Xiao Hua smiled faintly. Although his figure moved slightly, the millions of disciples felt as if they saw Xiao Hua land in front of them. The face that had been clearly engraved in their hearts suddenly appeared in front of them. All the disciples' faces flushed red, and they were unable to control themselves. All of you have worked hard. Xiao Hua spoke again. When this Xiao was not on the Dawn Rain continent, all of you actually developed the fortune gate into such a force. This Xiao is truly grateful. Dao Master Xiao. All the disciples choked again. But Xiao Hua changed the topic. Now that the Dawn Rain continent's other sects and sword cultivators are here, this Xiao will talk to them about official matters first. When the official matters are over, this Xiao will talk to all of you about my fortune gate's private matters. How about it? Disciples dare not delay Dao Master Xiao. All the disciples were moved to tears. Xiao Hua's words showed that he did not treat them as outsiders at all. Thinking back to how Xiong Yi and Li Xiang had led the Fortune Gate's disciples, the disciples' hearts burned with passion. After appeasing the Fortune Gate's disciples, Xiao Hua looked at Fairy Hongxia and smiled faintly. He then swept his gaze over Li Zongbao, Kai Zhuoxia, Zhang Qingxiao, Huang Mengxiang, and the others. He then looked at the Mountain Patrol Sword Sect, Flying Feather Sect, and Quilted Mountain Sect that were guarding the Heaven Patrol City, as well as the Void Heaven Sword Sect, Bright Sword Sect, and High Wind Sword Sect that were attacking the Fortune Gate's disciples. He said indifferently, "You all either fell for Yi Yaotian's trick, or you colluded with Yi Yaotian to fight my Fortune Gate's disciples in front of the Heaven Patrol City. Let's not talk about the outcome of this battle. Your hands are stained with the blood of my Fortune Gate's disciples." Before Xiao Hua could finish, the sword cultivator's face changed, and he hurriedly bowed again. "We have made a big mistake, please punish us." P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, bookmark it, and Chapter 52:15. Xiao Hua said coldly, "A debt of blood should be paid with blood. But seeing that all of you have fallen into Yi Yaotian's trap, and Yi Yaotian has already been executed, this Xiao will no longer pursue the death penalty. I hope that all of you will take this as a warning to cultivate more in the future and kill less." Yes. The sword cultivators were terrified and lowered their heads in agreement. As for the rest of you, Xiao Hua looked at the Seven Skills Sect, Xuanyan School, and the Cleansing Flower Sect and said, "What do you think of my Fortune Gate's current strength?" Spiritual Master Yang Yu's eyes turned and he hurriedly answered, "Spiritual Master, your Fortune Gate is already the #1 sect on the Dawn Rain mainland. It won't be a problem for you to sweep through the 3 countries. Then what if my Fortune Gate exterminates the 7 Skills Sect?" Xiao Hua asked indifferently, "As the 7 Skills Sect Master, what do you think?" Sweat dripped from Spiritual Master Yang Yu's forehead. He opened his mouth, but his mouth was dry. He didn't know how to answer. Behind Spiritual Master Yang Yu, Spiritual Master Yi Xian, Spiritual Master Wu Hongzi, and Spiritual Master Jing Huan were sweating profusely. They didn't dare to raise their heads lest Xiao Hua asked them, "Yes, although your sect is weak, it is still your foundation. You naturally don't want my Fortune Gate to exterminate your sect." Xiao Hua didn't expect them to answer. He continued, "Judging from this, you should understand the thoughts of the lightning controlling sects Fairy Xianhua and the others. Of course, you can also say that you were instigated by the falling star sky. But ask yourselves, if you didn't have selfish thoughts in your heart, how could you have fallen into his trap?" Yes. Spiritual Master Yang Yu originally wanted to say that he was deceived by Qi Jianghai, but seeing Xiao Hua's imposing manner, he didn't dare to quibble. He could only agree submissively. With this Zhao's current strength, it would be a loss of this Zhao's face to bicker with you. Xiao Hua continued, "But if this Xiao doesn't bicker with you, it would be a loss of my Fortune Gate's face. Sect heads, how do you think this Xiao should handle this?" Seeing Xiao Hua let go of the Void Heaven Sword School and the other sword cultivators and make things difficult for the 4 sects of the state of Xi, not to mention Taoist Yang Yu and the others, even Xianjing didn't understand. However, a moment later Xianjing had an idea. He quickly bowed and said, "Taoist Xiao, although Junior didn't participate in the siege of the Imperial Thunder School, Junior received a message from Falling Star Sky in the Kunlun Mountains. He wanted Junior to make things difficult for the Rock Border School. However, Junior thinks that since we are all cultivators of the state of Lian, there's nothing we can do about it. Therefore I didn't agree." Today, the Shanghua sect and the other 4 sects in the country of Xi are too selfish and caused internal strife in the country of Xi. Taoist Yang Yu and the others immediately understood what Xiao Hua was trying to say. They knew that Xiao Hua hated internal strife the most. Xiao Hua could let go of the blood feud between the Heavenly Patrol City and the Fortune Gate, but he could not let go of the Shi country's 4 sects besieging the Imperial Thunder sect. Therefore, Reverend Yang Yu, Reverend Yi Xian, Reverend Wu Hongzi, and Reverend Jing Huan did not dare to be negligent. They hurriedly knelt in midair and said in unison, "Reverend Xiao, we were wrong. We hereby swear that we won't dare to cause any more trouble in the future." Xiao Hua smiled slightly, helped them up and said, "There's no need for an oath. I'm warning you today because I want you to understand that among the Dao cultivators, the country of Shi is one, the country of Meng is one, and the country of Lian is also one. If compared with the sword cultivators, the 3 countries of cultivation are also one. In this great war of Dao sword you all did very well. However, if compared with the Liu Immortal Alliance that is 1,000,000 miles away from the Meng Mountains, the sword cultivators and the Dao cultivators are also one." With that, Xiao Hua raised his hand and pointed in the direction of the Kuei-He Sea, and said, "If compared with the Confucian cultivators, the Buddhist sect, and the demon clan on the other side of the sea, the cultivators of my Xiaoyu continent are also one." Xian Jing and the others were puzzled. However, Xiao Hua did not explain. He pointed to the sky again and said, "But if compared with the demon clan in the 10,000 demon realm, the human cultivators, whether it is the Dao cultivators, the Confucian cultivators, the Buddhist sect, or the soul cultivators, are all one. Even under the current great calamity of the world, we are also one. If we don't work together, how can we pass down our Dao teachings? How can we continue our bloodline?" As soon as Xiao Hua said this, within several hundred miles, whether it was the sword cultivators or the Dao cultivators, whether they understood or were ignorant, all bowed and said, "Yes, what Daoist Xiao said is right. We all understand." Good. Xiao Hua's wisdom eyes had been open long ago. Looking at the crowd, he did not point it out. His gaze fell on the heavenly demon 13 sect's disciples. He looked at Zhang Qingxiao meaningfully and said, "This world can be divided into heaven and earth, yin and yang, and naturally can also be divided into good and evil. Who is good and who is evil, who is right and who is wrong, this Xiao does not dare to say. I'm afraid only the heavenly Dao knows. Since the heavenly demon sect can exist now, there is naturally a reason for its existence. If Sect Master Zhang has great talent and vision, he can manage the heavenly demon sect in an orderly manner. This Xiao will not interfere too much with the development of the heavenly demon sect, and also will not let the Fortune Gate force the freedom of the heavenly demon sect's disciples too much." What Zhang Qingxiao wanted was for Xiao Hua to acknowledge the heavenly demon sect in front of the entire Dawn Rain Mainland's Dao cultivators. At this time he was overjoyed to hear Xiao Hua's words. He quickly bowed and said, "This one is very happy to receive Daoist Zhao's high opinion. This one really did not know that the Earth Fiend sect, Earth Spirit sect, and Renhua sect had besieged the Fortune Gate's disciples. This one originally came to ask for forgiveness, but before this one could say anything, Daoist Xiao had already forgiven them. Although this one is happy, there is also fear in my heart. The 3 sects' ordinary disciples can be pardoned, but the 3 sects' sect masters must be killed. Of course this matter will be dealt with by this one. There is no need for Daoist Xiao to think too much." Xiao Hua nodded and said, "Sect Master Zhang is considerate." Also, Zhang Qingxiao continued, "This one feels that he was not strict enough and offended the Fortune Gate. This is this one's fault. Therefore today in front of Daoist Xiao and all the cultivators in the world, this one passes the sect master's position to Yi Yin, and asks Daoist Xiao and the other sect masters to be witnesses." "Lord Sect Master." Yi Yin was shocked and hurriedly flew out, shouting, "How can you?" Zhang Qingxiao smiled and said, "This one has offended Daoist Xiao, so naturally, this one must ask for forgiveness. I hope that the heavenly demon sect can flourish in your hands. Of course, you must know how to sit on the sect master's position, and what you should do in the future." "Yes." Seeing that Zhang Qingxiao had made up his mind, Yi Yin bowed and said, "Disciple knows what to do." And Xiao Hua nodded and said, "Since this is the case, this one will not say anything about the heavenly demon sect's matter. I believe that my Fortune Gate sect masters will handle it themselves." "Thank you, Daoist Xiao." Zhang Qingxiao and Yin bowed at the same time and retreated into the crowd. Finally, Xiao Hua looked around, looking at the other sword cultivator and Dao cultivator sects, and said loudly, "Everyone, this one is very grateful that all of you came from all over the Dawn Rain mainland to support my fortune gate. This one has not set foot on the Dawn Rain mainland for more than 700 years. Since I suddenly returned today, naturally, I have something to say to all of you. Even if all of you did not come today, this one would have chosen another day to gather all the sect masters for a discussion. Since all the Dawn Rain mainland sects are here today, then there's no better time than the present. This one will tell you all the things that this one wants to say. Would all of you like to discuss with this one?" Taoist He Ping and the others respectfully said, "Taoist Xiao, please feel free to instruct us. As long as we can do it, we will definitely do it." Supreme Clarity Sect's Taoist Yu Qing also hurriedly said, "That's right, please instruct us." Xiao Hua looked at Taoist Yu Qing and said meaningfully, "Since this is the case, this one will first thank Taoist Yu Qing and Supreme Clarity Sect's disciples." "Ah!" Taoist Yu Qing was stunned and asked in a low voice, "What does Taoist Xiao mean?" "Everyone." Xiao Hua did not return to Taoist Yu Qing, but sat on the fortune throne, looking at the crowd and said, "There is a Tao in heaven and earth. Tao gives birth to one, one gives birth to two, two gives birth to three, and three gives birth to all living things. All living things have spirits and can cultivate. Because of different races and different perception, they are divided into Taoist, Confucian, Buddhist, and Yao. Taoist is divided into Yuanying, Jindan, and Jinshan. Yuanying is divided into Qi refining, foundation building, Jindan, Yuanying, Dishen, void refining, unification, Mahayana, and Dujia. Jindan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and Tao merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and Tao merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and Tao merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and Tao merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and heaven merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and Tao merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and Tao merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and heaven merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and Tao merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and Tao merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and heaven merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and Tao merging. Jinshan is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and heaven merging. Jinshan is divided into 9 turns golden body. Confucian is divided into Qi refining, spirit returning, void refining, and heaven merging. Taoist Yu Qing originally paid attention to the meaning of Xiao Hua's words, but when he heard what Xiao Hua said, he was stunned again. He did not know what this Tao had to do with thanking the disciples of the Taiqing sect. However, Xianjing of the Kunlun sect was different. When he just heard the first sentence from Xiao Hua's mouth, his heart immediately trembled. Without hesitation, he sat down cross-legged, turned his 5 hearts to the sky, and closed 4 of his 5 senses. Only his ears were left, and he listened attentively. The Kunlun sect was indeed worthy of being a sect passed down from ancient times. Seeing Xianjing like this, the other Yuanying disciples immediately woke up. They did not care about anything else, and immediately sat down cross-legged and listened carefully. When the Kunlun sect was like this, Taoist Yu Qing and other leaders of the Taoist cultivation countries woke up and hurriedly sat down cross-legged. There were also leaders who whispered to their disciples to listen to the lecture. As for the sword cultivators, strong spiritual swords such as Butterfly and Zhuaming were also stunned at first. Even if they heard it clearly, they still did not understand. After half a cup of tea's time, these spiritual swords suddenly changed their faces and revealed their swords to listen. When the spiritual swords were like this, the transforming sword and illusory sword were even slower. When they woke up and listened to the lecture, it was already a cup of tea's time later. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to the Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a month, vote for a recommendation, collect, reward, and thank all forms of support. Chapter 52:16. Naturally, the disciples of the Fortune Gate were different from the other sections. Whether it was the disciples of the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range led by Xiong Yi or the Fortune Gate disciples of the Dawn Rain continent, they all regarded Xiaohua as a god. Xiaohua's preaching was like a golden rule to them. After a few words they immediately understood. Under the moonlight, the night sky near Sentry City was unusually quiet. There was no snow, no wind, no rain, and no fog. The stars in the sky shone brightly, reflecting the brilliance of the cultivators on the ground. The whole world was shrouded in an indescribable Tao. Xiaohua's words were like gurgling water that flowed into the ears of millions of Dawn Rain continent cultivators and slowly nourished their hungry and thirsty hearts. Tao was fate, and the depth of this fate was not only in the comprehension of Tao, but also in the epiphany. Millions of cultivators heard the same words, but their hearts were different. There was joy on the faces of the Fortune Gate disciples, bitterness on the faces of the cultivators from the three countries, sadness on the faces of the sword cultivators from the Huan country, and realization on the faces of the heavenly demon sect disciples. For a time, all kinds of feelings appeared on the faces of the cultivators. Day and night appeared, and the sun rose. Xiaohua looked around with a smile and finally said, "The Tao has a heart, and it is divided into good and evil. Using a kind heart to use the Tao, there will be good results. Using evil thoughts to use the Tao, there will be bad results." Today, this Xiaohua preaches and hopes that the cultivators of the Dawn Rain continent will use good results as their thoughts and tread on the Tao with kindness. After he finished speaking, Xiaohua sat on the throne of fortune, looked up at the sun, and said one word, "Good." As soon as this word came out, it immediately turned into thousands of words, like butterflies flying everywhere. Millions of cultivators were near and far, but the word good did not fall far. Almost at the same time, millions of good words entered the heads of all the cultivators. Dang! Everyone was startled awake and raised their heads to look at Xiaohua. Just at this moment, the gentle sunlight shone on Xiaohua's body. The throne of fortune's lightning flashed in the sunlight like a dancing dragon. Xiaohua's benevolence and magnanimity subdued tens of thousands of cultivators. Without waiting for the Fortune Gate's disciples to open their mouths, all the sword cultivators and Tao cultivators knelt in midair and kowtowed in thanks. Disciples thanked Master Xiao. Xiaohua smiled faintly. His charm in the sunlight was unparalleled for a moment. He patted the throne of creation he sat on, and rumbling sounds rang out. Countless lightning hands appeared out of thin air and lifted up everyone who had fallen to their knees. His voice, brimming with compassion, rang out again. "Everyone, please rise. I, Xiaohua, have received the great favor of heaven and earth. I have cultivated to transcend tribulation and become the supreme ruler of humanity. This is my fortuitous opportunity, but it is also a gift from the heavenly Tao. Therefore, I do not dare to enjoy the heavenly Tao alone. I will share my understanding of the heavenly Tao with the world. I hope that everyone can obtain the grace of the heavenly Tao and step into the ranks of the great Tao." Tribulation? Human Mahayana realm? The several million cultivators were stunned on the spot. Xiaohua ignored everyone's shock and continued. "I was born in the Dawn Rain mainland. Although I have only cultivated to the Gold Core realm, my roots are in the Dawn Rain mainland. I have traveled through the three mainlands, the hidden immortal continent, the Western Paradise, the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm, the 10,000 Demons World, and the Qilan mainland. Today, I have returned to the Dawn Rain mainland, which is also the Yilin mainland's Heaven Alliance and Tao Alliance's Lost Land. I saw an unknown cultivator from the Defeat Immortal Alliance in the Starfall Heavens. He actually stirred up trouble on my Dawn Rain mainland, so I took action to eradicate him. Today, the Tao that I have imparted to you is in the hands of my Fortune Gate's disciples. In the future, you can look for my Fortune Gate sect master. They will definitely teach you according to your circumstances." The cultivators were wild with joy and bowed. "Thank you, Taoist Xiao, for your generosity." However, Xiaohua changed the topic and said, "However, I obtained this Tao from the three mainlands. Today, I am announcing this Tao to the public on behalf of the three mainlands Tao cultivators and even the human race. I sincerely request the Dawn Rain Mainland's cultivators to use the inheritance of Tao cultivators and the human race's bloodline to save the three mainlands' billions of lives. Xiaohua didn't mention saving the world, nor did he ask for anything in return. He only preached the Tao for one night, then threw out the Tao cultivation method, and finally asked all the Dawn Rain Mainland's cultivators to lend a helping hand. The cultivators' blood was already boiling. Xianjing shouted, "Daoist Xiao, if you have any instructions, just say it. As long as Daoist Xiao gives the order, my Kunlun sect's disciples will definitely." Without waiting for Xianjing to finish, Daoist Yuqing also said in a clear voice, "Previously, Daoist Xiao has said clearly that you need the help of my Tai Ching sect. Now Daoist Xiao can say it clearly. My Tai Ching sect doesn't say anything about the human race's bloodline or Tao cultivator inheritance. We will use the entire sect's strength to save the world." The other sword cultivators were all impassioned. "Good." Xiaohua clapped his hands and said, "Since that's the case, I thank everyone on behalf of the three continents' human race. Everyone, please calm down and listen to this Zhao's explanation." After everyone calmed down a little, Xiaohua told them about the calamity of the three continents in full detail. He also told them about the situation of the 10,000 Demon Realm and the Yilin mainland. Until now, the Dawn Rain Mainland's cultivators finally understood that the world was so big. The Dawn Rain Mainland that they regarded as the world was just a lost land of the Yilin mainland, and the entire enormous Yilin mainland was just a corner of the four great continents. In the east of the Guihe Sea, there were the boundless three continents and three rivers and four seas. Even outside of the four great continents, there was a 10,000 demon realm that was dominated by the demon race. However, all of this was isolated by a large array that might exist. They lived under the protection of this large array. In just a moment, the various sect leaders frowned again. The ordinary cultivators of the Dawn Rain mainland might not think too much, but the sect leaders couldn't help but think more. The outside of the Dawn Rain mainland was so exciting, but how much excitement was left for them? After the large array was broken, the various sects would come to find them. What would the cultivators of the Dawn Rain mainland and even the various sects do? Xiaohua had already thought about it. He looked around and said, "Perhaps some cultivators feel that what does the destruction of the three continents have to do with our Dawn Rain mainland? We're content to stay in a corner and cultivate ourselves. However, why don't you think about it? If the large array wasn't broken, our Dawn Rain mainland would forever be a lost land, forever forgotten by Tao cultivators. Just a cultivator from the Immortal Alliance who wasn't famous could become the Vice Alliance leader of the Immortal Alliance in our Dawn Rain mainland. Falling Star Heaven is still considered good. They also have misgivings about the other cultivators of the Immortal Alliance and haven't run amok. If there was an unreasonable person, the current Dawn Rain mainland would already be a bloody scene. Besides, isn't this Xiao a living example? If this Xiao hadn't left the Dawn Rain mainland in these 1,000 years, I would have cultivated to the nascent soul realm at most. How could I have reached the tribulation transcendence realm? This Xiao is only one step ahead. After me, there's still all of you and your descendants. But hearing this, all the cultivators' blood boiled and they couldn't help but whisper. Xiaohua had a smile on his face and didn't stop them, allowing them to let their imaginations run wild. After the time it took to brew a cup of tea, everyone calmed down again. Xiaohua spoke again. The ancients have a saying, viewing the sky from the bottom of a well. Therefore, breaking the large array and helping the three continents save the world not only helps the billions of living beings in the three continents, but also helps the cultivation of us Tao cultivators. The outside world is so big and there are so many opportunities. How can we be content in a corner? Be ants in the eyes of others? Zhuaming and Zhualingjian hurriedly bowed at this time and said, Tao Master Xiao, this junior schemed against the fortune gate and offended Tao Master. However, after hearing Tao Master's words, this junior knows that this was not only because of my personal interests, but also because this junior's knowledge is shallow. If there is such a world in the east of the heavenly sea, how could this junior lay his hands on his own people? Since Tao Master has said so clearly, this junior already understands. If Tao Master has any instructions, just say it. This junior will do his best to help. Good. This Xiao thanks Lingjian on behalf of the cultivators of the 3 continents. Xiaohua helped Swimming up with a smile and said, however, this Xiao also wants to be honest. This Xiao wants to ask for everyone's help. However, this Xiao doesn't know how to help. After all, this large array is innate and not something that can be done by humans. Therefore, this Xiao explained the reason in detail to everyone. Please pay attention and see if you know anything related to the large array. This junior understands. Swimming hurriedly turned and ordered quickly, pass down Dao Master Zhao's order. If any disciple of the High Wind Sword sect can provide information about the large array, this old man will reward them handsomely. Since Swimming said so, the other sword cultivators and Dao cultivators also passed down the order. Then Xiaohua looked at Dao Master Yuqing of the Taiqing sect and said, Dao Master Yuqing, this junior is here. Dao Master Yuqing hurriedly bowed and said, Senior, what instructions do you have? Xiaohua waved his hand and a storage bag flew in front of Dao Master Yuqing and said, This is a greeting gift from this Xiao to the Taiqing sect. Please accept it. What is this? Dao Master Yuqing was somewhat puzzled, but Xianjing's eyelids twitched. Take a look first. Xiaohua replied with a smile. Dao Master Yuqing opened the storage bag and took a look. Naturally, his expression changed greatly. An indescribable ecstasy appeared in his eyes. Senior. Dao Master Yuqing suppressed the ecstasy in his heart and carefully put away the storage bag. He looked at Xiaohua and said respectfully, I wonder what my Taiqing sect can do for the 3 continents? The 3 peaks of heaven, earth, and man. Xiaohua looked at Dao Master Yuqing and said word by word. Dao Master Yuqing was stunned, as if he didn't understand. He asked curiously, the 3 peaks of heaven, earth, and man? Dao Master, what do you mean by this? Xiaohua said with a smile, although this Xiao doesn't know how to break the Xiantian large array, this Xiao already has some ideas. I know that to break this large array, one has to topple the Taiqing sect's 3 peaks of heaven, earth, and man. This. Dao Master Yuqing was shocked and cried out, How is this possible? My Taiqing sect is in Meng country. The Xiantian large array that Dao Master Xiao said is in the Qianhe Sea. How can my Taiqing sect's 3 peaks of heaven, earth, and man be related to the large array? P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a month, vote for a recommendation, collect, reward, and thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 52:17. In front of all the cultivators of the Dawn-Rain continent, Xiaohua couldn't explain the immortal formation in detail, but he still explained the phenomenon of the heaven, earth, and mortal peaks, as well as his own inference. Finally, he said, Therefore, although I know that the formation can be broken by toppling the heaven, earth, and mortal peaks, I don't know how to topple it, and whether the several supreme cultivators who came with me can topple it. That's why I asked the cultivators of the Dawn-Rain continent to help me find clues to break the formation. But no matter what, the heaven, earth, and mortal peaks, I'm afraid we can't protect them. The things in the storage pouch can be considered my compensation to the Taiqing sect. The heaven, earth, and mortal peaks were the key to breaking the formation, and toppling these 3 peaks was imperative. Therefore, Xiaohua didn't waste any time on pleasantries, and looked at Taoist Yuqing with bright eyes. Taoist Yuqing's mouth was bitter, and his heart was filled with regret. He knew that Xiaohua must have a request from the Taiqing sect, and he was prepared to use the Taiqing sect's power to help Xiaohua. But he absolutely didn't expect that the Taiqing sect would pay the price of toppling the heaven, earth, and mortal peaks. The heaven, earth, and mortal peaks were the foundation of the Taiqing sect's 3 sects. How could they be toppled just like that? Taoist Yuqing had an impulse to return the storage pouch, but looking at Xiaohua's gaze, in front of all the cultivators of the Dawn-Rain continent, Taoist Yuqing hesitated. At this time, Xianjing hurriedly said, Taoist Xiao, Junior doesn't know what my Kunlun sect can do for the 3 continents, and Junior also hasn't heard about the innate formation, but my Kunlun sect has a Kunlun secret realm that only the sect masters can enter. My Kunlun sect is willing to invite Taoist Xiao to the Kunlun secret realm, hoping to obtain information about the innate formation from there. Good. Xiaohua nodded slightly and said with a smile, I accept Kunlun sect's good intentions. In the future, Kunlun sect will be my Fortune Gate's ally. After this matter, please contact my Fortune Gate's Fortune Gate. For the matters of the Dawn Rain continent, my Fortune Gate will advance and retreat with Kunlun sect. Thank you, Taoist Xiao. Xianjing was overjoyed and hurriedly thanked him. On the other hand, Taoist Yuqing's heart trembled, and he instantly came to a realization. The person in front of him was the supreme being of the human race, the number one person on the Dawn Rain continent. The Fortune Gate that he controlled was the number one force on the Dawn Rain continent. Not to mention his Tai Ching sect, even the entire Tao Cultivation sect combined wouldn't be a match for him. The other party had taken out a storage pouch in front of all the cultivators in the world, and he had made a promise in front of all the cultivators in the world. How could he go back on his word now? Even if the other party didn't explain it to him and directly went to the Tai Ching sect to topple the three peaks of heaven, earth, and man, what could he do? There were billions of living beings in the three continents. All righteousness seemed insignificant in front of these billions of living beings. Not to mention, just a moment ago, this human supreme and the Fortune Gate he controlled had resisted the unknown blood formation and saved him and the entire Tao cultivator sect from the brink of death. Thinking of this, Taoist Yuqing immediately made a decision. He bowed and said, reporting to Taoist Xiao, in order to save the billions of lives in the three continents, all the disciples of my Tai Ching sect are willing to listen to Taoist Xiao's orders and do anything, even if it means toppling the three peaks of heaven, earth, and man. However, all the disciples of my three sects are on the three peaks. I have to explain this matter to them and evacuate everything on the three peaks. Therefore, I hope Senior can give me some time. A smile appeared on Xiao Hua's face. He rose from the throne of fortune and cupped his fists, saying, on behalf of the billions of lives in the three continents, I thank the Tai Ching sect for the sacrifice you have made for them. I won't say anything unnecessary. Just tell me whatever conditions the Tai Ching sect has. I dare not say too much, but as long as it's within my power, I'll agree to it. On behalf of the Dragon Island and the Dragon Clan of the Four Seas, I'll agree to it as long as it's within my power. Taoist Yun took a step forward and said majestically. Taoist Wu also took a step forward with a smile on his face and said, on behalf of the millions of soul cultivators of Meng Mountain and Wuming Mountain, although they were not harmed by the apocalypse, we soul cultivators will agree to whatever conditions the Tai Ching sect has. Namo Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya Buddha stepped forward and said, on behalf of the Buddha, I'll agree to whatever conditions the Tai Ching sect has. The phoenix parasol flew out, its enormous wings covering the sky as it shouted, this Taoist is the number one great sage of the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm. This Taoist will represent the demons of the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm and agree to any conditions of the Tai Ching sect. If that's the case. The celestial also flew out, shaking his head as he cried out, on behalf of the old man Gauchen of the Immortal Palace, I promise you that the Confucian cultivators of the hidden immortal continent will agree to whatever conditions the Tai Ching sect has, and will also agree to any cultivators who can help break the formation. The various supremes revealed their cultivation realm and strength one by one. Waves of supreme aura shrouded the surrounding 10,000 li like a tidal wave. In the originally gloomy sky, hurricanes howled as all kinds of strange phenomena appeared one after another. Some were covered in dragon patterns, some were filled with stars and moons, and some were paved with Buddhist light. Once again, everyone was dumbfounded. A moment later, the Tai Ching sect's Taoist Yuqing smiled bitterly and said, the things Taoist Xiao gave me in the storage pouch have far exceeded this junior's expectations. As for the specific conditions, this junior can't say. However, please rest assured, this junior also guarantees in front of all the cultivators in the world that my Tai Ching sect's disciples will not use this as a threat to make excessive demands. That's great. Xiao Hua said with a smile, in a few days, I'll lead everyone to the Tai Ching sect to visit Taoist Yuqing. At that time we'll discuss how to break the formation together. Alright, this junior will wait for senior's arrival at the Tai Ching sect. Taoist Yuqing bowed and retreated into the crowd. Xiao Hua looked at the crowd and then at his feet. Finally, he raised his voice and said, everyone, my Fortune Gate's disciples are too many. If we were to place them anywhere in the cultivation world, it would cause a change in the strength of the four countries. Now that the Sky Patrol City is gone and this 10,000 li snow domain is in ruins, This Xiao wants to establish the fortune gate here. What do you think? When Taoist He Ping heard this, he immediately smiled and bowed. Taoist Xiao, you think too much. Although the fortune gate is an iron army, they are also benevolent and righteous. We Tao cultivators would welcome them anywhere in the cultivation world. Why do we have to establish a sect in this bitter cold place? Chong Taishu and the other spirit swordsmen smiled bitterly. However, they looked at each other and bowed. We have no objection to where Senior wants to establish the sect. If we temporarily place it near the Sky Patrol City, it would be convenient for us Tao cultivators to send messages to the Fortune Gate to break the formation. What Spiritual Master He Ping said just now is not wrong. The spiritual chi of heaven and earth in this place is not as abundant as in other places. Please reconsider. Haha. Xiao Hua waved his hand and said, "The Fortune Gate's disciples I brought today are only 1% of my Fortune Tao Palace's disciples. The other disciples have already established their sects in the West Sea. If the formation is broken, all of my Fortune Gate's disciples will return to the West Sea. If the formation is not broken, then my Fortune Gate will consider establishing a sect here." 10%? Everyone was shocked again. While everyone was still in shock, Zhang Qingxiao flew over and bowed. "Taoist Xiao, I have already said that I am here to ask for forgiveness. However, I have just checked. My heavenly demon sex, 4th sex earth fiend sex deputy sex Yuzhong Kuei, the 6th sex earth spirit sex deputy sex Yang Ji, and the 8th sex Ren Hua sex deputy sex Yao Chengxi have all fallen in the battle. The other 3 sex disciples are here under orders. They cannot be blamed. Sect Master Zhang is too polite." Xiao Hua smiled. However, Zhang Qingxiao continued, "I have also said that I am not strict with my subordinates. I must take responsibility for this. Therefore, I have also said that I will pass the Heavenly Demon Sex Sect Master's position to Yin in front of Taoist Xiao and all the cultivators in the world. I will no longer be involved in the Heavenly Demon Sex matters. Since Taoist Xiao is so straightforward, I will not delay any further." And Xiao Hua nodded and said, "This is Sect Master Zhang's choice. I am very pleased. The previous grievances between my Fortune Gate and the Heavenly Demon Sect will be written off today." "Where is Yin?" Zhang Qingxiao shouted. Zhang Qingxiao had already discussed the rules with Yin when he proposed to pass the position in front of everyone. Yin did not dare to be negligent. He hurriedly stepped out and bowed. "Disciple is here. From today onwards, you are the Heavenly Demon Sect Master. Everything in the Heavenly Demon Sect will be handed over to you." Zhang Qingxiao raised his hand and brushed Yin's forehead as he said, "From today onwards, everything in the Heavenly Demon Sect has nothing to do with me. Lord Sect Master." Zhang Qingxiao had already said this before, but at that time, he did not really give up the position of Sect Master. At this time, before Yin could speak, all the Heavenly Demon Sect's disciples knelt down and kowtowed. "Please take back your words. The Heavenly Demon Sect was built by you. My Heavenly Demon Sect cannot be without Lord Sect Master." Zhang Qingxiao's heart instantly softened, and 2 lines of heroic tears fell uncontrollably. Xiao Hua smiled slightly and said, "Sect Master Zhang, although this Xiao has just returned to the Dawn Rain mainland, this Xiao has heard from the Thunder Control Sect and other cultivators that although the Heavenly Demon Sect has some evil deeds, your reputation is still resounding. Since the Heavenly Demon Sect's disciples can't leave you and this little friend ye can't take over the Heavenly Demon Sect for a while, you might as well be the Grand Sect Master for the time being." Zhang Qingxiao was naturally reluctant to leave the Heavenly Demon Sect, but his situation was different and he had to leave. After hearing Xiao Hua's words, he pondered for a moment and nodded. "Since that's the case, this one will listen to Taoist Xiao and temporarily be the Grand Sect Master of the Heavenly Demon Sect. However, this one will let Yin take care of all the sect's affairs." The Heavenly Demon Sect's disciples were overjoyed and kowtowed. "Thank you, Grand Sect Master. Thank you, Taoist Xiao." Seeing that the Heavenly Demon Sect's affairs were over and everyone had left, Xiao Hua did not say anything else. He stood in front of the throne of creation and raised his hand, saying, "This one has finished what he wanted to say. I hope that everyone will immediately search for information about breaking the formation after returning to their respective sections. As I said before, as long as there's valuable information, this one will thank you regardless of the cost. Yes, this junior understands. All the cultivators bowed and saluted. This junior will take his leave and immediately search for the formation breaking rope according to senior's instructions. Please. Xiaohua raised his hand to send them off. After all the sword cultivators and all the Dao cultivators of the sects saluted, they organized themselves and left. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support it, cast a monthly vote, cast a recommendation vote, collect a collection, reward, and thank all forms of support. Chapter 52:18. The Dawn Rain Mainland's Fortune Gate's disciples naturally did not need to leave. They stood there proudly as they watched the Fortune Gate's patriarchs lead their disciples to land in front of Taoist Shao. They bowed and left. An unprecedented sense of pride rose from the bottom of their hearts. It took half a day for the sword cultivators and Dao cultivators to leave. After the last cultivator left, Zhong Haoran, Zhong Zhan, and Fei Yunshu looked at each other and hurriedly flew to the front of the fortune throne. They respectfully knelt down and kowtowed. Disciple greets Taoist Shao. Wang Jianqing and the others looked at each other. They wanted to go over, but Zhong Haoran and the others were different from them. Without Xiaohua's order, they did not dare to move. Haoran. Xiaohua looked at Zhong Haoran and the others. He stood up and said, "You've worked hard." Taoist. Hearing Xiaohua's words, Zhong Haoran's tears instantly fell. He sobbed, "Disciple is guilty. Disciple shouldn't have brought Fortune Gate's disciples to the Heavenly Patrol City to risk their lives." No. Fei Yunshu did not dare to raise his head and hurriedly said, "This is not Martial Uncle's fault. Junior is willing to share the responsibility with Martial Uncle." Zhong Zhan opened his mouth but no words came out. He only kowtowed silently. Xiaohua looked at the three of them. How could he bear to blame them? He smiled and helped the three of them up, saying, "There is no right or wrong in everything. You may feel right today but you may feel wrong tomorrow. I cannot judge whether what you did in the Heavenly Patrol City was right or wrong. Only you and the Heavenly Tao can judge. However, you have all followed my instructions and built the Fortune Gate to its current state. I know that this is a great contribution to all of you." Xiaohua waved his hand and 3 immortal peaches appeared in front of them. He instructed, "You don't have much time left. Eat the immortal peaches first." Yes. The 3 of them burst into tears and ate the immortal peaches. Wang Jiancheng and the others were envious as they watched the 3 of them slowly turn gray. Xiaohua then said, "The Fortune Gate besieged the Heavenly Patrol City because of a fake sect master's token. I have found out from Yu Tong that the sect master's token was forged by the Yu family for the Hung country's Yi family. Yu Tong's methods are far from what you know, so it's nothing for you to fall into their trap. Moreover, even if you didn't fall into their trap this time, they would still have other methods, so you don't have to blame yourselves too much. A weak Fortune Gate is nothing but a fat piece of meat in their eyes." "Yes, we understand." Zhong Haoran and the others kowtowed. "Furthermore, with your temperament, it is indeed difficult for you to be the leader of a sect. In the future, hand over the disciples to the 2 leaders, Xiong Yi and Li Xiang, and focus on your cultivation." As Xiaohua spoke, he waved his hand and placed several storage pouches in front of the 3 of them, saying, "This old man will have a specialized disciple guide you." "Thank you, spiritual master." Zhong Haoran, Zhong Zhan, and Fei Yunshu heaved a long sigh of relief and kowtowed to express their gratitude. "You can leave." Xiaohua nodded. He looked at Wang Jiancheng and the others and said, "Come over here." Although there were many Fortune Gate disciples, their strength was too weak. In just a short while, Fishing Isles Suchong, Heavenly Competitive Pavilion Shuahong, Bright Wisdom Pavilions Wuchang, and Yuanfeng Stronghold Zhouji had all fallen. Only Chuhong Factions Wang Jiancheng, Cloud Pavilion Forts Suzhonglin, Burning Crane Societies Xiaoming, and Yin Sun Manor's Changjizi were still alive. Hearing Xiaohua's words, no one dared to be negligent. They hurried over and kowtowed in greeting. "Although this old man doesn't know any of you." Xiaohua looked at them and smiled. "Since you all consider yourselves Fortune Gate disciples, then this old man will not be partial to you. Here are immortal peaches. Replenish your lifespan first. Disciples thanked the sect chief. Wang Jiancheng and the others received the immortal peaches and said, although disciples consider ourselves Fortune Gate disciples, there are still selfish desires in our hearts. From today onwards, disciples will offer all disciples to the sect chief, and dare to be ordinary disciples. Xiaohua nodded. This old man understands your intentions. All of you have the ability to lead, how can you be ordinary disciples? Millions of Fortune Gate disciples should be led by someone. After my Fortune Gate's 2 sect chiefs take a look, I will make arrangements for all of you. Yes, disciples understand. Everyone ate the immortal peaches, and Xiaohua gave them cultivation technique jade slips before retreating. Everyone. Xiaohua looked at the millions of Dawn Rain Mainland's Fortune Gate disciples and spoke. Before Xiaohua could finish, all the disciples shouted in unison, disciples greet Taoist Xiao. Although the greetings were the same as before, Xiaohua could still feel the passion in these disciples' hearts. Good. Xiaohua stood up and clapped his hands, saying, since all of you are my Fortune Gate's disciples, this old man won't say much. Those senior brothers and martial uncles around you, as well as those powerful seniors you saw earlier, are all your role models. As long as you cultivate with peace of mind and listen to the Fortune Gate's orders, this old man can guarantee that the scene you saw in the Sky Patrol City will never happen again. Not only will you sweep across the Dawn Rain mainland, you will also sweep across the 4 continents. Disciples understand. All the disciples shouted in unison, we are proud to be Fortune Gate's disciples. Subsequently, Xiaohua raised his hand and pointed at the ground, smiling, disciples, don't judge this place by its bitter cold and harsh climate. This is where the Sky Patrol City is located, and it is also where Tao and sword cultivators fight for. Now that the Sky Patrol City has been destroyed, we have established a sect here to grab the throats of Tao and sword cultivators. This old man will leave this place to all of you. I hope that 10 years later, this old man will be able to see a unique Fortune Tao Palace on the Dawn Rain mainland. Yes, disciples will follow Taoist Zhao's orders and build a Fortune Tao Palace for Taoist Zhao in this snowy region. All the disciples respectfully replied. Zhongyi, where's Li Xiang? Xiaohua raised his head and shouted. Disciples are here. The 2 Fortune Gate sect chiefs flew out and bowed. This old man will leave these cute disciples to all of you. Xiaohua emphasized each word. All of you must treat them as nephews and juniors. You must not show any favoritism. Sectmaster, please rest assured. Xiongyi and the others respectfully replied. Disciples dare not do such a thing. Subsequently, Xiaohua instructed Xiongyi and Li Xiang to recruit over 100 Fortune Gate's disciples. Then he slapped the fortune throne once more, and the light screen shattered and everything disappeared. Xiaohua turned to look at Ying Kuei and chuckled. Junior has made a fool of himself in front of Senior. Don't mention it. Ying Kuei laughed. This old man also walked the same path in the past. You've done well, far better than this old man. Senior already knows about the 3 continents calamity. Do you have any good ideas? Xiaohua probed. Ying Kuei shook his head slightly. This old man has never seen the world-destroying monster worm, so there's nothing much to say. Perhaps. Ying Kuei stopped here and didn't say anything else. Xiaohua knew that Ying Kuei was referring to the other Emperor Tianhuang's clone, so he didn't continue the conversation. He smiled and said, since that's the case, Senior can chat with these few Tao friends. Perhaps you can think of something. And Ying Kuei knew that Xiaohua was monitoring him, so he didn't say anything and nodded. Xiaohua took a deep breath and looked in the direction of Fairy Hongxia and the others. However, when he saw them clearly, he frowned. This was because there was an unfamiliar cultivator standing beside Li Zongbao. Xiaohua's figure blurred, and he landed in front of everyone. The cultivator didn't dare to be negligent, and he hurriedly bowed. Junior Hung Feng greets Tao Master Xiao. Tao Master Xiao. Li Zongbao was about to call Xiaohua Junior Brother Xiao, but before he could open his mouth, he realized that something was wrong. He hurriedly corrected himself. This is my master. Ayo. Xiaohua immediately understood, and he hurriedly helped Hung Feng up. He smiled and said, since he's Senior Brother Li's master, then we're family. There's no need to be so polite. Hung Feng was overjoyed, and he stood up and said, Junior has received orders from the sect master to visit Zongbao. At the same time, I would like to invite Dao Master to accompany Zongbao to the Utmost Bliss faction. Xiaohua didn't immediately agree. Instead, he looked at Li Zongbao. Li Zongbao hurriedly smiled and said, Master is very good to me. I've already agreed. That's good. Xiaohua nodded. Li Zongbao had already told Xiaohua about his experiences in the Utmost Bliss faction. Xiaohua didn't have a good impression of the Utmost Bliss faction, but he had to give Li Zongbao face. He smiled and said, Since senior brother Li has agreed, this Xiao must go. Moreover, this Xiao must lead the Fortune Gates disciples to congratulate senior brother Li and Daoist Kai's marriage. Hearing this, Hung Feng hurriedly said, Dao Master doesn't need to worry about Zongbao and Zhuoxia's marriage. This junior was worried about his cultivation, so I warned him. Now that he has received Dao Master's teachings, there's no harm. This junior agrees they can get married at any time. Thank you, Master. Li Zongbao hurriedly bowed, and Kai Zhuoxia also saluted with blushing eyes. AI Daoist Hung Ming, you don't even know senior brother Li's aptitude. Back then you even scolded him for not having a baby. Xiaohua looked at Li Zongbao and sighed. He said to Hung Ming, to tell you the truth, when I met senior brother Li that day, I asked him to join the Fortune Gate. However, to my surprise, he didn't want to leave the Utmost Bliss faction. I don't mind telling you that if the Utmost Bliss faction can have one person reach the Mahayana stage, it can only be senior brother Li. Yes. Hung Feng hurriedly smiled. Dao Master, please don't blame Master. Senior brother Li said unhappily, Master is very good to me. Huh? Xiaohua laughed and said, That's good. Then he took out a jade slip and handed it to Hung Ming, saying, This is a method to refine the meridians. I'll give it to the Utmost Bliss faction as a thank you for taking care of senior brother Li. No. Hung Feng hurriedly waved his hand and said, Zongbao is my disciple. It's my duty to take care of him. Master, please take it. Li Zongbao laughed and said, Dao Master Xiao, you have countless secret arts. If you can get one, it's your lucky chance and also the Utmost Bliss faction's lucky chance. Hung Feng smiled and took it. When he looked at it with his divine thought, his expression changed greatly. P.S. Fellow cultivators who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, give it as a reward, and thank you to the Alliance leader, Kai in the Rain. Today is the Mid-Autumn Festival. I hope all of you will have a happy holiday and have good luck. Looking at millions of cultivators kneeling to you, I also felt the urge to kneel. Facing such a person, how could I dare to love? I don't even have the qualifications to feel ashamed of my inferiority. I am not even worthy to carry your shoes. How could I dare to be the mistress of millions of Fortune Gates disciples? Hong Xia. Kai Zhuoxia said anxiously, Zongbao is different, his strength is much higher than mine. Without waiting for Kai Zhuoxia to finish, Fairy Hongxia shook her head and said, Sister, you are you, I am me. Xiaohua is Xiaohua, Li Zongbao is Li Zongbao. You can catch up to Li Zongbao, but can I catch up to Xiaohua? But Xiaohua still wanted to say something, but Fairy Hongxia said firmly, Darling Xiao, this is no longer the past. I have not changed, but you have changed too much. I can't catch up to you. We really can't go back to the past. As soon as she said that, Shua, even though it was her own words, Fairy Hongxia couldn't help but cry. I'm sorry. Fairy Hongxia cried as she tried to move her body, wanting to escape. Xiaohua had thought of thousands of endings, and this could be one of them. But the reason for this ending was something he couldn't comprehend even if he cultivated for 1,000,000 years. He really couldn't accept it. Without Xiaohua's consent, Fairy Hongxia naturally couldn't leave. She tried to fly for a long time, but when she looked up, Xiaohua and the rest were still in front of her. Xiaohua. Fairy Hongxia cried and said, I beg you, let me go. Can you bear to see your former lover's final pride being shattered in front of you? Xiaohua bit his lips and nodded slightly. He raised his hand and said, Wife, can your husband hug you one last time? Fairy Hongxia cried and threw herself into Xiaohua's embrace. She bit down on Xiaohua's chest, as if she wanted to vent her 700 years of longing. Her tears fell like rain, as if she wanted to pour down her 700 years of longing. Xiaohua also couldn't help but cry. After the time it took to drink a cup of tea, Fairy Hongxia pushed Xiaohua lightly and said, "All right, Taoist Xiao, let go of me." P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian. Vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, gift it. Damn, writing such an ending for the Mid-Autumn Festival. I wonder if I will be scolded by my fellow Taoists. At the very least, Benben will ask for mental compensation, right? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.